Okay, first, I want to say rest in peace to Pat Patterson, the first Intercontinental Champion in the WWF in the late 70s, I think. He passed away on my birthday, and rest in peace to David Linder, who played Squig on Laverne and Shirley. He passed away on December 4th. And today is the 40th anniversary of John Lennon getting assassinated by Mark David Chapman. When Lennon and his wife Yoko, they were going back to their apartment in New York City, and Mark David Chapman, he shot John Lennon, I think it was 3 times. It's sad. Who knows? The Beatles could have gotten back together, but who knows? Anyway, in this video, I want to show you the 8 movie collection that my friend got for me on my birthday. Well, he got it. He gave me this yesterday, but this was from my birthday present on December 2nd. I'll give you a clue. It's a horror. It's a horror. It's a horror film series, and I have a Nightmare on Elm Street. I have the Freddy Krueger films. I have the Leprechaun films, and I have the when I don't have the first Child's Play, but I have Child's Play 2, 3, and Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, and the remake of Child's Play. But I don't own I own Halloween 3, and my uncle owns the Halloween not H2O, the recent one. But I don't own the first Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4 and 5 and 6. But now I own Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th Part 1, the uncut version. Part 2, Part 3 in 3D. Part 4, the final chapter. Part 5, A New Beginning. Part 6, Jason Lives. Part 7, The New Blood. And Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. When I was a kid, I still love watching Jason movies. I didn't watch the Freddy Krueger films. I was into Jason. I watched Child's Play and the Leprechaun. I didn't watch the Halloween films yet, and I don't own the Hellraiser films, but I got to get them. Because I do like Hellraiser Pinhead, yeah, Jason, I grew up watching this slasher classic, and the original one, of course, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. She was the killer. Jason does appear at the beginning, at the end of the first film, but in the part 2, he becomes the killer and so on. Part 1, where, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. This was directed by Sean Cunningham. Part 2 was when Jason, even though he doesn't have his trademark hockey mask, he has that sack on his head, but I always like that better than the hockey mask, but that's just me. Part 2, I like Part 2 and Part 1. Part 3, this was in 3D back in the 80s, and in this disc, you can watch the 2D version of the 3D version, but I suggest you watch the 2D version if you don't have the glasses. The 3D glasses is just if you watch it in 3D, it's kind of a little crappy, but that's just my opinion. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I like this. It has Crispin Glover, who played George McFly in Back to the Future, Corey Feldman as young Tommy Jarvis, and the guy and the actor who played Factor in Police Academy and the rabbi on Seinfeld. What was his name? I forget his name, but Part 5, where Tommy goes to not a group home, the halfway house. I think it's a halfway house for those mental patients, those kids with mental problems. But Part 5. I shouldn't say this, but Jason is still dead. Jason is the killer in Part 5. It's some other guy. I'm not saying. You have to watch the movie to find out. Part 6, the final appearance of Tommy, this time played by Tom Matthews, of Return of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead Part 2. And Miguel Nuziak, who played, who was in Return of the Living Dead and who played Joanna Man, was also in Part 5. He gets killed by the guy who thinks he's Jason. That's all I'm going to say about that. Part 7 is cool too. With I think her name was Tina, the girl with technical powers. When she was fighting Jason with her technical psychability, it's cool. And the psychologist, and Terry Kaiser, who played Bernie, Weekend at Bernie's. He's like this doctor that Tina doesn't like, this psychologist that Tina doesn't like. It's pretty cool. And my least favorite is Jason Takes Manhattan. And it's okay. It's just, I think that's everybody else's least favorite too. This is the Paramount collection. Doesn't have when New Line owned the rights to the Friday the 13th and 90s film when they did Jason Goes to Hell, and at Jason X they don't in Freddy vs. Jason they don't have this in this collection. But of course in Freddy vs. Jason, if you get the Nightmare on Elm Street series, it has that. But I grew up watching Friday the 13th, the original one with Mrs. Voorhees. Part 2, the first time, and so on. Jason becomes the killer, wearing that sack on his head, which is pretty scarier than Hockey Mask. The Hockey Mask shows up in Part 3, and that's when it became. When every time Jason, he's got that Hockey Mask on. That's when it became iconic. Part 4 was the final chapter, and I think in Part 5 they were going to start a new series. I think they were going to have the character of Tommy as the new Jason. Of course, critics or the fans didn't like that, so they had to bring Jason back. Jason Lives at the end. I think I saw this on YouTube a couple years ago. I think they were going to have Mrs. Voorhees, Jason's dad, as the killer, but I guess people didn't like that. They loved seeing Jason as the killer, so they dropped that idea. Yeah, it was the caretaker in Jason Lives in the original ending with some artwork. He was paying Mr. Voorhees off, watching over Jason's grave, and Jason's dad, I guess, was going to be the killer, but that idea was dropped. The New Blood, I like the New Blood with Tina. Yeah, I think her name is Tina. I could be wrong. I'm not good with names in movies anymore. I used to be good watching movies with characters' names. I'm not good at that anymore. But Tina, when she was a kid, she used her psychic ability and killed her dad on the pier, and he drowned it, and it was he dropped in the lake and drowned, and it was kind of sad. But years later, she becomes a teenager, and she has to confront her demons. When that scene when she was thinking and wishing she could bring her daddy back, she brings Jason back to life, and it's pretty cool. Jason Takes Manhattan. It's okay. It's not. I think it's everybody else's least favorite too, but I guess it's all right. It's not my all-time favorite either, but this is a cool collection. If you don't have this collection yet, if you at least have one Friday the 13th movie, you have to have this in your collection. That's all I'm gonna say. And thanks for subscribing to my channel if you love my videos. And I'm going to and I apologize. What I meant to say was, when Christmas comes around, when I get new horror movies, I'm going to review them. Maybe not review them yet, just show you guys my Christmas, because I'm planning to get some horror Blu-ray, I'm planning to get some horror presents, you know what I mean. I'm planning to get some horror movies for Christmas, Blu-rays, and I'm going to show you guys my Christmas horror collection when Christmas comes around. But thanks for watching my video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. If this is the first time you saw my video, I'm sorry. I love being a jerk sometimes. What I meant to say was, if this is the first time that you have seen my video, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, please do that. Anyway, that's it. Have a good day.